Hello, my sweet friends. Happy New Year. Yes, I'm late to the party per usual, y'all. Goodness. I hope everybody is off to a great start. Ours has been good. Me and Belle been out of town. We just got back. I figured y'all know if I hadn't been on here, then we just been busy. But I'm ready to be back in the kitchen. It's a new year. We've got a lot of new recipes, y'all, that we've got to do. I have actually made a list of things because I can't, sometimes I'm trying to think, what do I want to make? And I forget about things. So as I think of things, I'm starting to write them down. And then that way I have me a little check-off list of new things that I can make for y'all. And then that way I'll kind of know things that I have made. Because the way that they kind of have the videos set up now, you know, on the page, you kind of have to go through every one of them to see what the video is. You know, before it was like in a column and it had the little title out beside it, and I don't know why in the world they changed that, but they did. And it's hard for me to even find videos, so I know it's hard for y'all. But anyway, enough yakking about that. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. We're going to do a really easy little chicken and rice casserole. I guess you would call this maybe a French onion chicken and rice, because I think the original recipe, you put the little French fried onions on top. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the Ritz crackers and butter, but you can certainly do the French fried onions if you want to. So we're going to start off with some of this. And you can just use regular butter, but since I had this, I thought it'd add a little bit of flavor. This garlic and herb butter spread, we're going to do it in this little pot here, because the only thing we're going to have to do on the stove top, y'all, is saute up some of our peppers and onions and do our little minute rice, and that's it. And then we're going to mix everything up. I've got a rotisserie chicken. We're going to mix everything up, put it in our casserole dish, put it in the oven. This is simple. This is one of our budget-friendly meals. You can change it up. It's very versatile. But here I have a little bit of my yellow bell pepper and a little bit of my red, a little bit of onion. Y'all, that yellow and red bell pepper I bought whenever I made the chili. Y'all remember whenever I made the chili? Anyway, I could not believe how fresh and good those peppers still were. I mean, they weren't even a little bit wilted. They were still so crisp and good. So this is optional. Sometimes I do this step right here, and sometimes I don't. If you don't want to add the peppers and onions, you certainly don't have to. You can just start off by doing your minute rice and then mixing it all together. You can totally skip this step right here. But if you're like me and you had the stuff and you feel like you need to use it, go ahead and use it. Or it just adds more flavor too. So you can't go wrong either way. It's good either way. Okay, y'all, I'm just going to let these peppers and onions cook for a second, and we're going to get our rice in here, and we're going to get this thing put together. Y'all see little Belle's over there. She just had her chicken. Her belly is full. She's been out, and now she's ready to nap. But I'll be back in a second, y'all. And I forgot to tell y'all, you know, oil or butter will burn, so I'm going to drizzle in a little bit of olive oil to go in there with that, just in case. I know y'all probably know that, but I wanted to mention it just in case, okay? Alright, y'all, our peppers and onions are sauteed up quite a bit. Maybe, I guess they've been sitting here for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. You know, just however long you want. And now I have about 2 cups of minute white rice. You use whatever kind of rice you want. I just recommend, if you do like a long grain or something like that, you would definitely want to cook it a little bit first, just like we're doing our minute rice. But the thing is, I'm not going to cook this all the way. What I'm going to do, you know, when you do your minute rice, you do equal amounts of water and rice. So what I like to do whenever I'm using it in a method like this, I will do the 2 cups of rice, and then for my liquid, I do a little bit less. That way it still has room to absorb a little bit more and cook a little bit more while it's in the oven, if that makes sense. Okay, so y'all know how I am. Don't about overcooking pasta and overcooking your rice. But anyway, so I have about it looks like about 1 2/3 of a cup here of chicken broth. Okay, I'm just going to mix this around a little bit in here with these peppers and onions and that good butter. And then I'm going to pour that broth in. And then once it comes up to a boil, and then I just turn the burner off. And we're just going to let it sit there for a second. And then we're going to get all of our other stuff mixed up. Y'all, this is so easy. It's a delicious little recipe. And like I said, one that is inexpensive. But let me let this sit here for just a second, y'all. You'll see how it looks. It's just kind of, you know how you'll kind of fry up your rice just a little bit sometimes. That's just kind of what we're going to do. I'll be back. All right, y'all. I'm going in with our chicken broth. Of course, you can use water. I just like to do the broth. Ooh, yeah, it's good and hot. I like to do the broth. It just adds more flavor, but you can certainly do water. Now, all I'm going to let this do is I'm going to turn it up on high. As soon as it starts boiling, I'm going to pop the lid on it and turn it off. And I'm going to move it off the heat, let it sit there for a second. And then once I get that done, while that is sitting, we will, like I said, mix up our other stuff. Okay, y'all, let's mix up some of our ingredients. Now, I said when I started this, I was just going to mix it all in this pot. That's why I decided to use this big pot. But I feel like some of this we need to go ahead and pre-mix. So what we're going to do, 8 ounces of sour cream. Let me see. Now, you could do Greek yogurt or something else if you wanted to. And also, let me tell you what you could do is just some of that French onion dip mix. Now, I use that sometimes when I do like a chicken hash brown casserole. I use that. But for this, I usually just do the packet and the sour cream. But you could certainly do that. So 8 ounces of sour cream. Then we're going to do 1 can of cream of chicken, 10.5 ounce can. I love these little pop lids. Get that down in there. Y'all know I don't use this very much. There's just a few recipes I use the cream of soups. But sometimes it is needed for a good recipe. Did y'all have your New Year's Day traditional meal? I did. I didn't do a video. I had actually planned on it, but I ended up not doing one, and I thought, well, everybody's doing the same thing anyway, so I just ended up not doing one. But I had my I guess that's about the only time I ever cook black-eyed peas. It's not something that I love, but I enjoy them whenever I make them, but I just don't hardly ever make them. So, all right, now we're going to do a packet of onion soup mix, okay? Y'all, you can also, I have a version of this that I do with ground beef, but I use pasta instead. We'll do that one next time. I was trying to decide which one I wanted to do today, because once I got to thinking about this recipe, it reminded me of the other one. But we'll do that another day. But it's really good too. You just do your ground beef and your pasta in the place of your chicken and your rice. So I just want to get all this mixed up good before we mixed it all together. I guess let's go ahead and just put our spices in here too while we're waiting on that. Kind of save some time. So let's do a little bit of garlic. Just a sprinkle, y'all. Just eyeball it. Oh, I don't want that again. A little bit of onion powder. They've changed the lids on the Walmart thing. A little bit of parsley, of course. Okay, and I'm going to do a little pepper. I'm not going to do any salt because we did the broth and the cream of chicken and all of that. So I'm just going to do a little pepper. Okay, And I am going to, I'm not going to add them in here. I'm going to wait and mix them up in here. But I'm going to do a little can of these French style green onions. And I like to use these just because they cook up better, like in a casserole, because they're just so much smaller. You can do broccoli, you could do green peas, you could do peas and carrots. That's what I'm saying. You use whatever you have, whatever your family likes. You know we love green beans. I would like to do broccoli. But Braden always wants, y'all know that's his green vegetable that he eats, and I love it too. So this is just what I've always done with this recipe, is done the green beans. So anyway, y'all, I've got our chicken over here, our rotisserie chicken that I diced up, and we've got this mixed up. And then once this rice gets ready, we're going to just mix all this in. The only other thing we might have to add might be some broth if I feel like it's a little bit thick, because that rice is going to absorb whatever, most of the liquid that is left in there whenever it cooks in the oven. We're only going to cook it about 20 minutes, but we still don't want it to get dry. Anyway, I'll be back in a second, y'all. All right, y'all, let's get this mixed up. Here's our rice. Look at that. That's how I love for it to look. Let's get us a spoon here, because we're going to need a big one to mix all this up. But you see how it is? It's not overdone. Like, that's how I like it. And like I said, now mine, once it starts coming up to a boil, I turn it off, remove it from the heat, place a lid on it, and just let it cook, okay? So that's the way I like to do it. Now we're going to mix everything in here. This is our 8 ounces of sour cream, our can of cream of chicken, and our packet of onion soup mix. And I know this doesn't look very appetizing, does it? But it all does mix up really well, and turns out it's a really, really good little dish. And, and like I told you, I'm putting green beans in mine. You can leave that out totally, or, add the broccoli or whatever, but you don't even have to put one of those in there. You don't have to add the peppers and onions in here like I did, okay? Get all that off of there. All right. And I made us up some broth here because I really feel like we're going to need it. But let's get everything else in here. So here is our can of, get you up here closer now. Here's our can of green beans. And I always drain and rinse them. I just put them back in this can. Here is our rotisserie chicken. Now, you can just cook your chicken, use leftover chicken, whatever you have. All right, we're going to do a good handful of cheese. Y'all know that. So however much you want. I'm probably going for more like a cup or so. Okay. Now let's mix this thing up and see where we're at. Yeah, I don't really know which one I like better. I don't know if I like this one better or the beef and pasta one. Y'all know I love pasta, and I use the egg noodles in it, and it is a little bit different, but I still call it like a French onion casserole. But it's great too. Yeah, see how this is kind of thick? We most definitely need that little bit of liquid, so I'm glad I went ahead and made that up, because it's going to get even drier because of that rice. So let's see here. I have about, this is maybe 3/4 of a cup of just chicken broth I made up, y'all, using my powder, like that I do. Let's see. It smells so good. That onion soup mix and that broth and everything and chicken smells delicious. Let's do it. Let's just go ahead and do the rest of this. So about 3/4 of a cup I did, y'all. So just kind of eyeball that, however much. You may need a little less, you may need a little more. Okay, I think that's great. Let me swap places here. I'm gonna get I sprayed my pan a little bit. We're going to pour this down in here. You'll see this makes a lot too. And it's great for leftovers. Great for lunch the next day. Okay, that looks great. That fit in there perfect. It's like the perfect amount for this little dish. All right, now we're going to top it with a little bit of cheese. Of course, we got to have the cheese. Okay. Now I have my Ritz crackers here. Now I'm using just one of these little small packs because I don't like a ton of them. I got that on my finger. I don't like a ton of them, but I do like to put a little bit on there. So I just have a little bit of butter here. Now I did some regular butter, and then since I had out that seasoned butter, I put me a little spoonful of that in this bowl too. So I'm just gonna mix these Ritz crackers up in that. Let me get you down here and I'll show you. I'm just gonna use this same spoon here. It'll be fine. I'm just gonna mix these around. Which this does turn out to be, this amount turns out to be quite a bit. But you can definitely use more. I love buying those little small sleeves like that because that way if you open them up and you just need a few, you don't have that huge pack open, sitting there forever, and chances of getting, it gives them less chances of getting stale, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, see that? We just got that mixed up real good with that butter. Now I'm just going to pour it over the top here, y'all. This is optional too. Like I said, you can also, let me look. If you want to, you can do these crispy fried onions. Okay? I would rather do, I'm not crazy about those, so I would rather do this style. But, if you like those, then those would be great. I do use them occasionally. But I really just like this. Something about that rice and the crackers, I just really like. Okay. Kind of spread these out just a little bit. Yeah, I think that's plenty unless you just want it completely covered. I think that works out just fine. Those little half packs like that. Okay, I've got my oven on 350, y'all, and this is only going to cook for maybe 20 minutes or so, and then I will probably, y'all know how I know this is a little bit of my parsley. I will probably turn it on broil just to kind of get those crackers a little brown color on top. And anyway, I'm gonna pop it in there and I'll be back. Look at this, y'all. It looks so good. Smells so good. I'm gonna let it sit here and rest for just a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get me some out in my little bowl here to be cooling for the taste test, and I'll be back. All right, let's give this a taste. Look at this, y'all. It smells so good. I've not had this in so long. It smells amazing. This Kanan always loved this too. That cheese in there. I mean, the texture is perfect. We ended up adding that little bit of extra chicken broth in there. I think that was a great choice. It's not thick, it's not runny. I mean, it's just the perfect, casserole texture. You know what I mean? Oh, and let me tell you, I did 350, 20 minutes, and then I turned it on broil for, I don't know, 5-6 minutes, just long enough to get that little, that golden color on top. That's all you gotta do. And you don't even have to do that. I just always like to. But I do like to get those little crackers a little crunchy. That butter on there. Y'all got to get you some of that seasoned butter. If you haven't got any yet, you've got to get some. It's, what is it? Land of Lakes. I can't remember exactly all of it, but I showed it on in the earlier part of the video. It's so good. This is great, y'all. So good. I love that rice. That's delicious. That cheese in there, that is good. It is delicious. However, it could use just a smidge of salt. Remember, I didn't put any salt in any of it because we had the rotisserie chicken, which you know is salted. We had the chicken broth. We had the cream of chicken. So I didn't add, and then the Ritz crackers have salt on them, the butter. So I didn't add any salt, but I think it could use just a little sprinkle. Not much, but a little bit. But you do your own judging on that. I know everybody's different on their liking for salt and seasoning and stuff like that. Anyway, y'all, I'm glad to be back with y'all. Like I said, new year, we've got a lot of new things coming up. I have some new ideas that I want to kind of do on here with y'all. I'll talk more about that with y'all whenever I'm not doing a cooking video like this, because I just don't like for it to run too long. That way, if you just want the video, then it's here. But we need to do another live soon. That way we can kind of talk and discuss things. Like I said, I hope if you made a New Year's resolution, I hope I hope you haven't fell off the wagon yet. What is it? 3 days? Goodness gracious. I try not to set resolutions. Instead, I try to set goals, which I guess is basically the same thing. But anyway, we're going to talk more about all that. And I'm just going to go ahead and get off here tonight because I've been on here long enough. I'm going to enjoy this. And I'm just glad to be back. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.